Today I'm going to talk to you about the 3 most common roll casting mistakes I see people make while I'm guiding in small streams in the Smokies. I'm going to tell you how to fix them and why it's important. Now, the first thing you're probably going to notice is that I'm casting a very short amount of line and I have no anchor, which is not the way you typically hear people tell you to practice a roll cast. But up in the Smokies, this is what a lot of our casts look like, or even shorter than this. Probably more than half the time we're making roll casts with no anchor at all. So if you're going to effectively fish the Smokies, you need to be able to straighten out that line on these short casts where you don't have that water anchor. Now, the first common mistake that people are making is starting with their rod tilted towards their target. They're not bringing it back far enough, usually because they're worried about not having enough room. But for a roll cast to function properly, for you to effectively straighten out that line and make a nice presentation, this rod needs to start slightly tilted away from your target. So we need to start with that rod tilted back a little bit. The second most common mistake that people are making is wanting to do a little flip instead of an actual roll cast. They're moving that rod tip on multiple planes at once, kind of doing this motion. They're going up and over all together. That's not a roll cast. It's call it a mend, I guess. It's kind of an over-aggressive mend, but it's not a roll cast. For a roll cast, you need to lift that rod up. You want to stop completely and then push straight out forward. So your rod tip for your actual cast needs to be moving on only one plane. And you want to stop at the top where your line loses pretty much all momentum. I don't want to come forward while that line has momentum coming this way. That's a recipe to hook yourself, on top of just not making a good presentation. The third most common mistake that people are making is wanting to swing this rod down instead of pushing it out and extending their arms. They're wanting to keep everything in here really tight and swing their fist down. Swinging down is actually going to make your flies go higher in the tree, which is the exact opposite of why most people do this. They do this because they're afraid of hitting those overhead trees, so they want to pull the rod down. But if you pull that rod down, your flies will go much higher up than if you push straight out forward. And you're not going to straighten that line out. To make an effective cast, you want to start with your fist in close. Everything stays on the same level. You want to reach out, and you should finish with a straight line from your shoulder to your rod tip. And that goes ahead and puts you right in that good high sticking position where our line is straightened out. I've got my rod tip out and I'm ready to make a clean drift. Now, the reason that all 3 of these things is important is because these straighten your line out. And a big problem that people have in the Smokies is making casts with too much line because they're not straightening their line out. So when something is 15 feet from them, they have enough line out to hit a target that's 25 feet away, and then they've got all this slack on the water. They've got extra slack to pick up, or they can't pick it up. It's sitting on the water. And if you have fished the Smokies much, you know that slack laying on the water is your enemy. So we want to make sure that we're being effective with the amount of line that we have out, straightening out, and making our cast with as little line as possible. And that's why these 3 things are important. And if you want to get more effective at fishing the Smokies, these are things to work on if they're habits you have. Hope you guys found this helpful. Hope it helps some of you out, helps you get a little more effective with your roll casting up in the Smokies. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.